Hey everybody, it's that Saxy Nerd, and today we're going to talk about the sci-fi thriller Life. While some on the interwebs have complained about this movie, saying it's basically a ripoff of Alien, I don't care, because I am a sucker for space thrillers and horror, and I loved this movie. Like, seriously, I decided to watch this just to kill some time, and ended up on the edge of my seat. If you haven't seen the movie, basically, we find life from the soil of Mars. It is a microscopic organism that begins to grow and is named Calvin. Well, when Calvin starts growing, it's pretty cute at first. We come to find out that each cell is a muscle cell and a brain cell, which, I don't know, that would make me a bit nervous. I definitely would not be poking my fingers at it, but what do I know? I'm not a scientist like this guy is. Anyways, things go bad, as to be expected, and Calvin begins to kill, or should I say murder. Now, there are several moments in this film where the scientists mention that Calvin is a survivalist species, that he doesn't hate them, or that the hatred they feel towards Calvin is basically irrational since he's just surviving. But I don't know about that. And this is why I say that he's murdering them. This is where the film separates itself from the likes of Alien, because Calvin is not simply an incredible killing organism that is killing them for survival or to feed. No, rather, Calvin is a highly intelligent being that plans his moves to eliminate his threats systematically. I don't think he's merely some animal trying to survive. He is just as intelligent as the humans in the film. Maybe more or maybe slightly less, but he's basically at the same level. And that intelligence brings certain implications, such as knowing exactly what he is doing and the pain he is causing. We see countless examples of how intelligent Calvin is. From the very start of his rampage and breaking the first firewall, he knew how to use the tool to tear the glove. That is beyond impressive. Before things went crazy, he showed genuine curiosity in all the experiments and even in the rat he meets. Then you have the scene where he feeds off Derry's leg. Derry is paralyzed and is not able to notice that Calvin is just chilling under his pant leg, literally slowly feeding on him. This was a calculated move by Calvin because he was able to grow larger and stronger without anybody noticing. I mean, it's pretty devious. Over and over again, the scientists are just floored by the intelligence of the creature, and yet they keep underestimating him, even up to the very end of the film. If Calvin is this intelligent, I argue that he has to be conscious of what he is doing. I disagree with the assessment of the film scientists that Calvin doesn't hate them or isn't evil. He, quite frankly, does hate them. He's capable of knowing the consequences of his actions, and when he kills them, it seems to be doing it with a vengeance. That, I argue, would make him evil. But there is something else that throws a wrench in that argument. You see, at the start of the film, Calvin is curious and seemingly naive. He is interested in what is happening and shows no hostile behavior. The change is caused by a specific event, when Derry tried to shock Calvin. Due to a mistake, the environment in the box that Calvin's in goes haywire, and this causes Calvin to go into a protective hibernation. Derry, instead of just sitting and waiting, forces Calvin out by shocking him, which makes Calvin aggressive. Calvin simply began to defend himself. Calvin does know what he's doing, but perhaps in his mind he is just trying to hurt those who hurt him. Note that he didn't kill Derry, he only hurt him and crippled his hand. The same thing is repeated with the rat. Calvin already has been violent, but when he's met the rat, he stops and is curious. Yet it's when the rat bites him does he viciously attack. Calvin proves to be reactive rather than proactive when it comes to violence. It's only after he feels threatened does he act. Now, the scientists know this, and as I mentioned earlier, they just think Calvin is merely an animal trying to survive. But I think it's more accurate to say he's like a person trying to survive. While he goes on a rampage killing everyone, this doesn't seem to be his original intention. So while he does know exactly what he's doing and is calculating in his killing, the argument of him just trying to survive is quite real. So while he can comprehend his actions, he may be justified in doing so since technically it's self-defense. It would have been interesting to see if there could have been some way to reason with him or make peace. I know that's a long shot since they don't know how to communicate, yet still, I wonder if it was possible. I think the time that could have happened was after hurting Derry in the beginning, before Ryan Reynolds tries to cook Calvin. I think at that point it was all-out warfare. So what do you think? Can Calvin be considered evil? Did he know what he was doing? Or do you think he was blameless because it was self-defense? Let me know in the comments. Being a small channel, you know I will read them. And don't forget to check out my other videos as well as my saxophone music. Thanks for watching.